So saya terlebih dahulu nak ucap terima kasih kepada pihak Goals kerana telah jemput saya untuk share saya punya experience tentang penggunaan Turnitin. Masa saya diminta bagi di stok kepada semua nak share pengalaman saya guna Turnitin ini, saya pun fikirkan apa yang saya nak cerita. Jadi apa yang saya nak share dengan semua orang ialah bagaimana kita gunakan sistem ini di USM, dan juga lebih penting lagi how to interpret. Saya rasa as an academician, my biggest concern is the interpretation of the report itself. That is the biggest thing. So my focus actually would be to talk about interpreting that particular data. And then tadi Dr. Irni kata Senate dah luluskan, kata kalau 30% similarity dia dah consider as plagiarism. Now, just now masa Cik Azuddin kan cakap, dia kata tak semestinya kalau dia cakap 60%, itu 60% plagiarism. So sebab dia kata matching. So now out of that 60%, siapa nak decide? Kata it is only 30% or 5% boleh digunakan. So itu bila dia terpulang pada budi bicara, this is where the problem, the issues will come up. So jadi when we because in USM I was personally involved in developing the plagiarism policy for USM, memang bertengkar besar lah. Tambah dekat USM semua orang yang tua-tua belaka, kecuali saya of course, tapi semua memang everybody ada dia punya own perception about what is plagiarism. Apa yang constitute plagiarism? I give you an example. Setengah orang kata kalau dia punya similarity banyak dalam ni untuk PhD thesis lah, Masters PhD thesis, banyak dalam introduction boleh diampunkan. Setengah orang kata tak boleh diampunkan. Kalau banyak dalam introduction, literature review tak boleh diampunkan. Erti tak boleh diampunkan maknanya fail. I don't give you an opportunity to go back and rewrite your introduction. Kata masa Viva, kebanyakan daripada literature review dia banyak cut and paste. Ada pemeriksa yang kata you should fail. Ada pemeriksa yang rasa boleh dimaafkan, you go back and redo. Maknanya major correction. Ada yang kata kalau only dalam discussion, contohnya kalau banyak cut and paste dalam discussion, then barulah kesalahan yang besar, tiada maaf bagimu, kind of thing. Saya selalu argue. Kadang-kadang mungkin saya selalu kata sebab I have been an academician for almost 30 years. Dan saya juga lihat keadaan how our children are being trained in school right up to university, awareness dan sebagainya. So saya selalu rasa kalau dalam literature review tu boleh dimaafkan pada saya lah. Sebab saya rasa we have never really train the students on what actually is paraphrasing, what is actually. Setengah orang, macam I have students from Iran contohnya, dia kata kat saya dekat Iran kalau dia copy the whole passage, macam tadi Azuddin, dia copy, dia letak, kalau dia letak inverted commas, inverted commas panggil tu, dia kata yang tu okey. And then dia letak pula, dia refer dekat siapa. So they say, I'm not plagiarizing. But some academics kata it is plagiarism, because although you quote semua, you letak, tapi passages after passages you quote. Jadi mereka kata you hilanglah the spirit of as an academic, as a researcher, you lose the spirit of putting things together, writing it in your own words, expressing yourself, your ideas. You ambil orang punya idea. So banyak benda actually is debatable, is subjective. And that is why in USM, before we even we had the Turnitin punya software, we run the Turnitin software, but we never use it as an official mechanism to penalize somebody. until we came up with a university plagiarism policy. So dalam policy tu dia explain, I have a copy of the policy. Dalam policy tu kita explain semua, right up to educating the student. Jadi maknanya lecturer kena educate, student kena educate. Jadi dia meliputi not just using the software but the backup mechanism, the training, semua. Jadi budak-budak contohnya dalam plagiarism policy for USM, dia masuk first year undergrad dah, kita dah start training. What the university understands as plagiarism. Maknanya dalam USM dia tak mau you copy semua satu passage masuk, you bubuh inverted commas, you letak macam tu, USM tak terima. So different universities have different perceptions. So I think so that you don't get sued by any students, but now it's very easy to sue because if I don't know whether you're aware of this case dekat UMT. Ada satu student tu, dia dah dapat masters and then depa run her ni, depa jumpa banyak matching. She took the case to court and the university lost. The judge kata although dia plagiarized, but the university did not take any steps to educate, to warn, to apa, semua tak ada. Maknanya in the end she didn't lose her master. So it's a landmark decision that affected all of us, sebab I remember masa tu we all tengah duk gubalkan the plagiarism policy. So I'm not sure who is supposed to do that, but I'm looking at Dr. Irni, maybe you boleh bawa lah kepada TNCA contohnya untuk nak kita come up with that. It's very important. Okay, so apa yang I nak share with you is from thesis, sebab I think doesn't matter lah kalau thesis ke apa ke, it's just to understand the report. Dekat USM, walaupun bila kita beli the package tu, kita dapat license for 1,500 people because we have 1,500 academic staff. Tapi masa DC lama we all, Tan Sri Zul, dia kata dia tak nak bagi dekat lecturer. Sebab dia kata sebagai awal ni, sebab semua gairah, sat lagi bukan sahaja dia nak scan dia punya benda, dia tak ada kerja lain. Adalah setengah makhluk tu, dia duk scan orang punya buku, orang duk pergi cari pasal dengan orang, dia tak buat kerja lain dia tu. So dia nak kan dia macam cinta kawan tu kan, dia nak tengok, nak bagi, but dia kata dia tak nak people get distracted from the walaupun masa tu we all argue dengan dia, tetapi saya sebagai dekan IPS, saya nak sangat Turnitin ada di USM. Saya pun akul lah, tak apalah Tan Sri, apa pun tak apa, asal saya bawa. So now at that time, and I think until today, dia dipusatkan di IPS, equivalent of your PPS. So we have one designated PT, tapi kita dah train betul-betul. So semua adalah dia punya SOP, so semua hantar dekat dia. And everybody ada dia punya own sub account dekat situ, so masuk. And in USM tak canggih macam you all, undergradnya tak guna secara besar-besaran. So I'm not sure, when I left IPS, that was when we had the plagiarism policy, so Turnitin was going to be put under kita punya CDAE semua. Lah ni saya tak tahulah apa jadi. But bottom line is the focus at that time USM was only on the thesis punya ni. And we also make it compulsory for every student, postgrad student yang submit 10 naskah dia for examination, dia kena submit juga CD of the scan. But the policy says that you cannot share with the examiner until the examiner makes a special request for the Turnitin report. So it's not something that kita bagi thesis untuk examine dan kita bagi. So kalau examiner suspect and then go through pejabat dekan lah tu dekan kata okay, justify to look at the report, then only we share. Walaupun ada banyak people who feel that by right kena buka aja, kan, let it go lah. Tapi I also have reservations lah. Mungkin kita dalam suasana kita, I think we have to unfortunately agree that sometimes professionalism ni is a bit ni lah di kalangan kita. So we that's why we take a lot of steps tu ni. Tapi dalam proses kita buat tu, kita haraplah kata kita tak allow this kind of plagiarism to happen. So bila saya nak guna perkataan plagiarism pun, I'm very very careful. So I hope the first message that I want to send to you guys is, jangan senang-senang kata oh ni plagiarism. Always be very very careful. Sebab satu hari nanti tepuk dia datang kat kita balik, kita kata tak, tapi hari tu kita dah kata orang plagiarize. So the burden to say someone plagiarizes is actually a big one. Okay, so yeah, that's the mindset I think I nak you all have lah bila you all look at a Turnitin report. Now, bila saya ni banyak cakap from pengalaman lah, but before I thought I want to prepare a PowerPoint slide lah. I rasa dah kita ada academicians, I can talk like this lah, tak apa. But dalam internet tu banyak betul how to interpret the Turnitin report. Banyak dah. Kalau you go and Google aja, which is what I did. So Google aja, I saw one that was very simple and yet for beginners kan, Turnitin report nak baca 101 ni, I rasa boleh tak buka ni. This one is very simple and I'm not going to go through it, but you all can go through it just to see what it says. Sebab lepas saya baca 3-4 files yang how to interpret the report, at the end of the day it's still subjective. So that's why I want, because it's so subjective, I'm going to just go to the report and talk to you about it. Now the thing about Turnitin report is this. You must remember it's not comprehensive. Maknanya dia ada juga lopong-lopong. Contohnya kalau setengah buku is not electronically available, maka tak akan detect. Kalau macam student yang translate, kan we had one student, hamba Allah ni, not a local student, the whole thesis was a translated version from Arabic. The whole thesis. And we only found out lepas bujuk lah tak dan nak, tapi ni mixed mode punya student, kena buang lah. It was in Arabic, dia translate dan mujuk ada orang. Ni bila busybody ada dalam dunia ni, bagus juga kadang-kadang. So ada satu busybody tu, dia tulis kat IPS, buka cerita, investigate, memang dia copy the whole thesis. Tu memanglah kalau ikutnya pun, in fact kalau dalam plagiarism policy tu, bila masa you nak denda RM200, bila masa you nak suspend 1 semester, bila masa you nak buang candidate student tu, semua tu kena ada dalam polisi. So it's not just about the picture is bigger lah. Okay, picture is bigger. So the other thing is, kalau you dah scan, if you are the first person to scan whatever it is, bila masuk dalam database, the next person who scans it, dia akan copy you. So banyak orang rasa macam, especially kalau dia punya results contohnya, okay, dia punya results, orang kalau boleh copy lah, kalau if it's in a database, people can copy, people can access. But Turnitin has told us specifically that it's not easy for them to access the information yang you bubur. Setengah orang kata data research dia tu, bila mereka scan thesis, data semua masuk, so mereka kata takut orang boleh access juga. But Turnitin told us that cannot be done, so that is okay. So I share with you satu, my student ni, dia foreign student. Masa dia hantar report dia tu, memang thesis dia hantar chapter by chapter. Bila saya tengok tu, dia cakap pun macam okey lah, you all faham lah. Kalau dia cakap, saya pun kena duk, bukan pasal tua dah, tapi apa hamba Allah duk kata. And when he write suddenly punya ni, saya said impresi gila, kalah tok guru pun. Saya kata, I so cannot phrase sentences so well as you. So kata Hamid, run your chapters, every chapter I want to see. Memang crazy lah, nanti you tengok kalau ni. But when after we run dia punya ni, maknanya dia punya duk ada dalam database lah. Okay, and a lot of the macam parts dia punya thesis tu yang dia tulis sendiri, it is already his. So bila I rescan, I nak bagi di stock, bila I rescan dengan nama lain, I both goals apa ke punya file, mereka kata 90% plagiarism, similarity sebab dia sama dengan student yang dah ni. So when you want to run pun, you must make sure lah if the thesis has already been, or the document has been run before. So ada any question tak so far? Yes. Kejap.
Kita nak masukkan, kita nak recheck, kita delete that file.
If you want to, you can delete if you want, because so far yang we will send to the administrator, dia nanti buat semua. Boleh delete file tak yang dia dah scan dah, kita boleh remove from the repository tak?
Kalau ikut Turnitin tak boleh, sebab semua yang dia dah scan melalui Turnitin
nanti masuk
dalam database Turnitin. Bukan database kita, database dia.
So kita tak boleh ni. So you
Kita kata kita dah ada dapat result, and then we do some correction. Lepas tu kita nak masukkan balik. How does that go?
But your results is okay. It's the write up tu. Result dia nanti appear tau. That's why kadang-kadang masa nak filter tu, you boleh filter, remove bibliografi ke apakah, you boleh remove, so that dia punya matching tu kalau banyak mungkin pasal reference memang sama. Tu tak, kadang-kadang table kita kecuali data kan. So that's why when you nak interpret tu, you kena be very careful lah, you kena be very mindful what you ni.
Maknanya Prof, kalau let's say one candidate tu dia submit mula-mula 60% kan. So after that dia buat paraphrase lah. Kita submit balik tu dia akan
kalau dia dah tukar, then the similar my students, although some people don't like this, but I like it because konsep saya ialah you are teaching the PhD student or master student is on a learning curve. Dia pun duk belajar juga. So some people say you are encouraging paraphrasing, you are encouraging copying apa semua by do writing, submit, come back, you change, you submit kan. Some people don't like it, but I think as an academician, it's up to you how you train your student. Kalau dia asyik paraphrasing means dia tukar sikit-sikit kan, ni ada sinonim. I'm sure all of us have done it. We see one word and then saya pun buat. So I'm not going to pretend that I'm holier than you all, but students tend to do that without batasan. InsyaAllah kita pandai lah kan. Kalau nak kelentong pun kita kena pandai kelentong juga. Orang Penang lagi lah kan. No offense. Okay. So kalau macam tu you have macam my student, bila dia hantar, dia mai balik, I check with the previous one, but I know bahagian apa selalu yang depa ni. Macam that student hari tu memang dia punya introduction was bad lah. Memang copy gila lah. So saya pun I didn't want that to happen. So he had to rewrite everything. Banyak lah, go over and over again. So bila dia submit, masuk kurang, tapi dah bahasa dia pula kita tak faham apa dia tulis. So memanglah challenging lah nak supervise student kan. Tapi you take it as part of your maturity as an academic. Okay. So that's a different talk altogether. Alright. So bila we all scan the thesis ni, yang ni is a student that was that submitted her thesis. Kalau kita lihat di sini, dia nanti bagi this similarity index, okay? So this similarity index, that's why some people call matching. So this is what you have to look out for. And then dia bagi pula kalau you tengokkan internet source 16%, daripada publication berapa persen, dan so they will break down for you. To me, I don't really want to know where it came from. All I want to know is whether the student wrote an original report or not. And then you will see kata ada number 1, 2, 3. Okay, so sebab dalam report yang detail, dia nanti refer, dia nanti letak number 1, number 2, number 3, so that you boleh cross refer to where it came from. Okay, to where it came from kat sini. So, and the other thing that you need to remember is that the bigger the document, dia bila dia ada percent match ni, the bigger the document, dia kira matching over the total document. So lagi besar dokumen tu, number dia kat tepi ni nanti kecil. 1% match, you know. Some of them less than 1% match. But don't be fooled by that. They are actually in relation to the whole document. So saya selalu ni from experience, I don't hold on to this 1% match either. Okay. So kalau you scroll down the document, kat sini, sini kan less than 1%. Okay. And you see the color kat dalam main document sat lagi pun dia color coded juga. So it's very easy for you to monitor. Alright. So ni banyak lah. Okay. So this is dia punya chapter 1. Okay. Kalau dia letak tang ni maknanya it's okay. Okay, there's nothing wrong. Only when it appears inside here. So can you see this number here, 66? Tak, orang belakang dia nampak? Okay, 66. Nampak biru ni? Ni kira ayat orang lain dah lah. Okay, cuma dia, maknanya ni the original text ada. The disease is a main hurdle, dia bubuh, to social economic development in influenced country. Ni bahasa pun dah tak betul. So dia nak bubuh pun, you know, dia tukar this word here, but dia ganti dengan influence, and still it doesn't make sense. Alright, so yang tu cerita lain, whether it makes sense or not, cerita lain. Tapi kalau okay, 66, and remember this color. So if I go up, I go to number 66. This is the source. Okay, nampak tak? Ingat tak color ni tadi? So this is the source. So kalau you nak tahu, sebab to me dia dah bagi dah. Jadi kalau kita ada banyak masa, yang orang USIM kan tak ada masa kan. So kalau ada banyak masa, pilihlah klik atas ni and it will take you to that place. Tadi yang macam you all tunjuk tu, dia ada kat tepi tu tak? And then you can go, dia senang tak payah duk naik turun. But I think if you save it, it becomes like this. If you save it in HTML punya document, you will get something like this. Okay, so that's what this number means, and this color ni. Okay, so that is why when you look at this, kalau lah siapa yang very strict, dia nak interpret kata budak ni dah nak start dah plagiarizing. Okay, ni semua ni kalau biru ni dia ambil pada tempat yang sama. Alright, dia ambil pada tempat yang sama. Ni number 66 lagi, and then reference number 170, malaria is also a major cause of death in children. In my opinion lah, even I will write like this. So kan, so tu I kata is very subjective. It's very subjective, and this is in the literature review. But when somebody send to me this report, I kata kat the supervisor, the examiner, I kata if I were you, I dah red alert lah. I'll tell you why. I kata red alert, I will ask the student to rewrite ni. Okay, so you tengok this paragraph, dia almost the whole kan, almost the whole thing dia tambah sikit-sikit aja. So as you scroll down, so although I'm a very liberal academic, I think that, you know, in literature review boleh lah kalau ni, tapi it is getting a bit too much now. Okay, so yang ni pun kalau dia color ni, maknanya number 60, this is where the reference is tadi. So to me this is a very bad, ni tengok, can you see or not? So this is a thesis, PhD thesis, so this is not quite right lah pada I. Alright, okay. So maknanya kalau dia tak boleh nak express, because I'm not sure how you guys were trained to do your doctorate. Kita baru buat setahun 2 aja kan, jadi dapat PhD. So I got my PhD almost years ago. I got my PhD in 1982. I think some of you were not even born at that time. Dah born dah ke? Alhamdulillah. I don't feel so old. When I was trained to do my PhD, it was very important that we are able to express ourselves intellectually. I think the training of an academic was key. Dulu kala you buat PhD, saya nak jadi lecturer. So my supervisor always emphasize on the ability to write. Dulu lah tak tahulah Lani macam mana, sebab Lani technology is such that orang semua nak cepat apa semua, but so when I see something like this, I question the intellectual capability of the student. In my opinion, as a scientist, nak buat eksperimen tu siapa pun boleh buat. I can get a technician, a PA pula dah, PA kita yang ada form 5 pun, I boleh train dia untuk nak buat semua, tapi dia takat tu aja. So I always tell my PhD students, I say, I don't want you to be a professional technician. You are not trained to be a professional technician, you are trained to be a researcher. Maknanya you kena have all these critical skills, don't know what nonsense, tapi not just buat eksperimen, tak interpret data, and tak juga do a critique of existing work. To me itu what a PhD, especially a PhD student should be. So bila dia buat kerja-kerja macam ni, dia tak mencermin dah, to me lah, the intellectual capacity of the student to be given a PhD. Maknanya dia copy paste, dia tak tahu nak synthesize information. So this is my perception of what a PhD should be. Everybody else ada dia punya own pandangan. So pada saya, bila saya tengok report ni, I kata dah, I don't red alert everywhere dah. Okay, I don't like what I'm seeing. So to me, the supervisor should have at least run a Turnitin and advise the student accordingly. Okay, so yang ni, so di baru literature review. Okay, so this is bad lah. Now you can see what I mean. Dia tambah join, dia tambah completely, you know, this kind of thing. Okay, and then come to literature review. Tadi introduction, literature review pun just as bad. Okay, tadang. Okay, alright. Okay, so basically this is why I kata is subjective. So Lani, where do we draw the line? Where do we say, okay, Prof. Roshada, if you were the examiner, will you forgive the student or not? Kalau now we are going to run it, now it's going to be made available, can you forgive somebody kalau apa literature review contohnya berwarna-warni and berasaskan Senate dah kata 30%, Senate tak define kan, I also tak tahu, I pun Senate first time baru ni, Senate betul dah.
I wasn't aware. Maybe it's what ada maybe the previous one tu yang lama. Yang lama mesti nak buat. 6 bulan sudah. But yeah, like it's very
It's to me ni tak tengok, alright. Maknanya dia ambil aja kawan ni punya kan.
because to share jugalah, kebanyakan foreign students normally dia memang akan ubah 1-2 saja.
Yeah.
They do that.
So that's why the training, I also tu I tanya Dr. Ernie tadi, siapa yang train student untuk nak that's why sebelum kita nak kata plagiarism lah, semua kita kena ada all those, kita dah latih mereka kata ni big no, tak boleh.
Sepatutnya dalam kelas research metodologi dan penggunaan.
Okay. Yang tu yang mereka kena buat. Okay, if that's the case. So anyway, this literature review, I want to go down to chapter 3 dia. Chapter 3 dia ada a little bit of introduction to chapter 3. Okay, kejap. I just want to show you the results and discussions. Okay, di sini dia punya results. So results tak ada apalah. Results very minimal lah. Kalau macam ni dia punya ni, it doesn't matter lah, because this is result. Dia tak boleh change anything. I want to go to the discussion punya part. Okay, so ni discussion dia dah. Okay, sometimes kalau you tengok, walaupun dalam discussion dia this ayat ada dekat sini, this kind of sentence is like a normal standard sentence. So tu saya kata kena pandai-pandai tengok. So this one to me boleh dimaafkan lah, sebab is ni. Okay, yang ni macam mana dia nak discuss kalau keluar this kind of similarity. So where is the intellectual punya input here? Especially dia kena discuss based on dia punya results. So how can they come so this is where the problem starts Alright, so that's why in my opinion this thesis has a lot of problems. I cannot even say how many percent plagiarized, but I know that it's a big problem. Especially sebab dia punya discussion ada ni. Okay, again can you see here, yang ni this number 10 ni, where you see dia ambil pada number 10 banyak. Dia ambil pada number 10 banyak. Alright, so ada any questions? I think to understand the report is quite easy. Dia ada number and dia ada color coded. Yeah, so it's as simple as that. And in your student report, dia ada color in a sense that tadi I don't know whether you notice or not, dia punya color starts with blue and it becomes red. So kalau blue tu kira 0 to 1%, something like that. Merah tu kira bad bad already. So basically this is what I want to share with you. I have this student ni, this one I think you understand what I'm trying to say lah ya, untuk nak ni. Okay, now okay, can you see 98% ni? Now this is the one yang baru ni, bila Goals ajak saya come and give this talk, and then I duk cari teruk-teruk punya tak jumpa, dan I say okay lah, I'll use my student punya. So I scan, this student dah submit, dah publish semua dah. Tengok dia punya similarity 98%. Pasal apa? Pasal masa dia tu dia dah scan dah. Untuk alhamdulillah dah, you kata saya grad student yang so sebab dia dah scan dah untuk dia nak submit thesis dia. So now this whole thing chunk ni is as is, saya pergi scan lagi sekali, so tu yang 98%. Okay, so that's why it can be quite misleading. Like you say just now, if you send your student punya ni and then you masuk lagi, could be higher, could be lower. But if it is higher, this is the story that happened. Itu bila I tengok, I kata pasal dah masuk dalam database dah, so dia check ajalah yang tu. Okay, it's based. Okay, so macam kata dalam bahasa Arab ada, but like Dr. Ernie katalah, the one that's most comprehensive is the English punya database. Okay, so but dulu I was made to understand that we can work with Turnitin. Turnitin ada dia punya ni dekat Malaysia kan. We can work with them to, kalau nak upload ke apa ke, can let them know. And if you upload, katalah from English you translate to Arabic kata, and you pergi scan, the Arabic version ni kira your hak already. You are the one yang pemegang the Arabic version of that translation. So it's very risky. So kalau siapa yang tak, orang USIM tak lah kot kan, sebab semua jujur belaka. Tapi kalau yang tak berapa tu, dia kata ni dia lah, padahal it is an Arabic version that dia translate, maknanya it's not original work. Semua ni kena be very mindful when you want to look at the report. Actually that is what I have to share with you. There's tak ada lah banyak nak ni, cuma nak faham dengan, saya rasa lebih banyak kepada diri kita sendirilah. Unfortunately maybe that's why I will just mention to TNCA lah, the need for the plagiarism policy here. So ada any questions that you want to ask? Yeah.
How about punctuation? Dia boleh detect punctuation tak? Contohnya macam Prof cakap tadi, ada student dia buat pakai quotation mark.
Tak, dia nanti scan yang tu. Dia nanti keluar sebab every character is something detectable. So they will detect that one, tak apa, tapi yang dalam tu semua dia nanti consider. So it will detect yang tu. Ya. Yeah.
Saya cuma nak share lah sebab saya pernah cuba untuk satu paper conference.
Ya. Yeah.
Selalu kita tengok percentage similarity tinggi, kita akan check kan.
Ya. Yeah.
Tapi paper tu dia less than 10.
Okay.
Tapi masalahnya bahasa dia bertabur semua. So dia detect sikit lah. Dari segi similarity bagus.
Ya.
Tapi bahasa tu lah.
Ya,
kena tengok juga lah.
But in my opinion, walaupun bahasa, you mean bahasa Inggeris juga.
Grammar lah.
But at least, the job of Turnitin is to check whether there's matching. The fact that dia pergi tulis sendiri walaupun bahasa berterabur, maknanya dia duk cuba tak plagiarize.
Tapi saya tengok, kita jangan tengok percentage tinggi saja.
Ya.
Rendah pun kita tengok dia.
Kemungkinan dia ni, ya. Okey. Betul. Ya, ya. Alright. I just start je nah. Okay, maybe a few more minutes untuk nak explain sedikit daripada segi kalau kita dah submit report dah, macam mana kita nak faham. Kalau you all tengok dekat sini kan, dia ada kalau yang ni kan nampak number 1 merah ni submitted bila 23rd June 2011, right? So that's when this one first time they submit was 18 October 2010. Lepas tu June they submit for scanning aja untuk nak check ni masa tu. This was I think the final version dah. So that's why I told you just now, kata dia punya similarity index 98%. So if you see here, this is the date sebab baru ni saya nak datang for this talk. I just send the thesis, the final thesis for scanning. So that's why it's dated 6 February. So kalau you all nak track dekat mana dia di scan now, especially kalau kita punya own student punya paper macam ni lah, dah scan sekali. This was when the first time they scan, and then this is the second time kita scan. So you can tell bila it has been done, especially since you know where it was submitted, where that paper was submitted. So bila kalau kita lihat di sini, kita boleh tengok lah. Kalau yang hijau ni I presume nanti banyak lah, especially yang merah ni. You will find that dekat, nampak tak? Hijau saja-saja, it will be hijau or merah because everything is ni. So for you to be able to realize sama to detect sama ada di ni lah, you can check here. And tadi I tried to, actually kalau you click on this, you should be able to get into, kalau you click ni, you patut boleh masuk ke the original document. Tadi macam Cik Azizin cerita tadi, he got the thing just now. What he was doing was online. Yang ni I dah download. So bila download, I kena log in and then baru access that document. And you must know bukan password. Nanti bila you masuk dalam, you nak search kat mana. So you kena counter check balik dekat sini. So that's why when you want to check where the source is, you have to be online. Kalau I submit ni, dia kan dokumen ni dah download. So kalau masa ni juga I nak go and check, I kena masuk ni and I nak kena cari susah. So but like just now, he was online. He was into Turnitin, then he scan, and then bila dia klik masa dia dalam Turnitin dah online, kalau dia klik on this, dia akan dapat lah the version yang my student submit hari tu. Okay, so assuming lah I yang copy dia punya thesis and I send for Turnitin, maknanya sah lah kata I ni. So the only way you can detect now, when you look at the number and you know that it was submitted ni, and if it's not your student's work, contohlah kawan dia punya kerja, this is typical of assignment lah. Kalau dia somebody dah submit, and then you tengok pula dekat USIM, then you know that dia copy either yang current group atau group yang sebelum ni. Katalah kita ada 5 students yang senior 3 tahun lah kata. Masa di senior now dia third year, dia buat report dia tak scan. Okay, kawan ni copy dia tak scan, kawan ni copy dia pergi scan. Sebab tak ada dalam database, walaupun dia copy, now dia tuan M punya. Ya. So kalau budak first year masuk tahun depan ambil dia punya ni, orang nanti kata curi pada dia, padahal pada dia curi. So semua ni kita tak boleh detect. Our job is to know, we don't need to know who, but we just need or where, we just need to know that dia dah copy from somewhere. And obviously kalau dia copy pada UIA contohnya, dia nanti kalau UIA ada, so dia nanti go to the original source. So in this case you can detect which institution, or itulah dia kata sini sama ada student paper, 97% student paper. Memang betul lah, memang betul. Okay, so if you ask me specific questions, that is easy for me to help explain. Kalau you ada any doubts ke apa ke. Ya.
Submit tu ada specification tak? Submit in Word ke PDF ke boleh?
Okay, dia punya ni, dia boleh submit in Word, PDF I think dia boleh. Kan? Word and PDF. Dalam instruction dia nanti beritahu. But other than that, what other versions do we have? Kalau I think HTML pun kalau you submit boleh. You boleh. Yeah. Because this is but HTML I think boleh. If you go to this link ni, if you go to this one here, then they will tell you lah. See, everything is here actually. Okay, yang color code apa semua, and then what documents can be ni. So the most important thing is yang tadi the first punya talk tu tadi, dia habaq macam mana you nak kena exclude. So if you want to exclude paper submitted bila ke, you boleh exclude semua masa tu. So you do your you can tailor make the search that you want to search. You boleh exclude tables, exclude, you boleh buat semua. The key is now you kena practice guna the software tu, which I must admit I pun tak pandai. So all I do is, because on my part I'm more interested to see the report. Kan, so kalau tables keluar sama pun, I kata ni table. That's why macam you kata dia kena bawa, kalau dia punya report pendek, kalau dia buat lab report ke apa ke, report pendek dia boleh bawa hard copy. Kalau macam ni berjela-jela ni, this is berpuluh-puluh pages, so that's why we don't in USIM, because it's thesis, so definitely it will be very long the report, so we don't print, we always buat dalam CD untuk nak bagi. Okay, so I think the key now, probably Dr. Ernie punya side, is to train you guys how to use it effectively lah. Maknanya yang based on the first talk tadi. So you must learn, understand how you nak exclude benda-benda yang you don't want to use. Yeah. Okay, ada any questions you want to ask? Yep.
Regarding bibliografi, dia boleh detect plagiarism tu based on the bibliography list yang ada ke, ataupun on the data daripada database?
Contohnya your 98%, your 70% tu could be because your bibliography tu kan, you punya how your referencing tu kan, kira obviously you use the same reference as 700 other people who probably scan pun dah kan. So yang tu yang kata dia tak pandai. Turnitin ni dia recognize saja. Dia recognize perkataan ni mai lepas perkataan ni, dia recognize yang tu je. So kalau kita tak exclude bibliografi, then dia nanti scan. Dia tak tahu kata yang ni bibliografi ke apa kan, kita kena habaq kat dia. So dia nanti scan. Tapi bila kita tengok dekat references atau bibliografi tu merah ataupun there will be many more colours because it came from, but it's all references, so that is okay lah. Tak ada masalah.
What I mean is ada tak dia tengok plagiarism tu based on the references yang kita bagi tu, not related to the references.
No,
it's from the system punya database itself.
if you use that reference, if inside that reference you ambil paragraph, dia detect dalam your body, your text, your main text, dia detect time tu. So even if you refer to it but you just extract information and you rewrite the information, then tak ada masalah. Kalau you pakai reference tu, you copy and you paste, yang color-color ni dia nanti refer to that reference. Yang color-color ni, dia nanti refer to that reference. For example, yang ni dia ni bad example sebab dia copy dekat 3 tempat lah. Satu tu thesis asal tu kan. So that's why dia pendek sekejap. Masyaib. Okey.
Dia biasanya macam ni. Yang Turnitin ni dia punya yang Turnitin ni dia punya database yang kita scan, dia akan masuk dalam database dia, akan jadi, kalau contoh macam Prof bagi tadi lah, saya tiru daripada kawan ni tapi dia tak scan, saya yang scan. So ownership tu datang daripada saya. Kalau dia scan, seolah-olah dia yang tiru saya. Macam tu. Okey, itu masuk dalam database. Apa-apa yang kita scan, student scan akan masuk dalam database dia. Dia juga akan detect daripada internet. Mana-mana internet source yang ada secara available secara online dekat Google ke, dekat apa semua tu, Google Scholar ke apa, kalau macam kita ada file yang e-journal apa semua tu pun dia akan detect daripada journal, daripada internet sources lah. Mana-mana macam kalau kita ada buat Wikipedia, kita ada blog, okay, katalah saya quote daripada blog dia, so dia pun akan boleh kata saya plagiat daripada that blog. Dia akan sebab bila dia boleh detect je yang kita kata tiru tadi, bukan tiru apa?
Similarity lah, yang matching tu.
Maknanya dia match. Satu paragraf ni match dengan dekat mana-mana, so dia akan boleh detect. Cuma isu dia sekarang ni yang kita ada banyak masalah nanti bila thesis. Sebab thesis tu adalah kita yang scan. Contohnya katakanlah student kita buat tajuk A. Tajuk dia ni lebih kurang sama macam dengan orang yang dekat UKM buat. Okey? Student yang dekat UKM ni buat 2 tahun yang lepas. Dia tak scan. Student kita scan dulu. Tapi tiba-tiba bila dia hantar paper, dia tulis pasal benda tu, dia scan dalam Turnitin. Sebab biasanya kalau kita hantar mana-mana journal memang akan go through Turnitin dulu. Kan, kalau tak silap saya, sebab saya ada 2-3 journal yang dia hantar.
Dia ada dia punya ni
Dia
lah.
akan go through Turnitin dan dia akan bagi tahu kalau similarity index tu berapa. Okay, so dia dapat tahu. Dia boleh sue balik universiti lah, because kita allow the student. Sebab kita sebagai supervisor, itu yang datangnya role as a supervisor to identify kalau student tu meniru ke tak. So dekat sini bila kita ada Turnitin, sebenarnya dengan harapan bukanlah kita penalize that student, kata oh you plagiat tak, tapi macam mana kita nak guide dia supaya menulis dengan tidak plagiat. Macam tu.
Jadi it's a good idea kalau kita remove bibliografi atau references.
What I used to do dulu was to scan chapter by chapter. So that's what I did lah. So I scan satu, and for graduate students pun they submit chapter by chapter. So they send one chapter, dia pergi hantar. So but in USM the final, bukanlah final, the submitted 10 copies tu memang dah kena scan dah. So dia scan semua sekali. So kita kena tapih jugalah. But that's why I say macam tajuk lah kan. Like my work lah kata, I look at protein requirements in ikan keli kata. And then another student buat protein requirements in tilapia. So kalau kita tengok dari segi tajuk, dia nanti match dah, but the first few words of it. So obviously it's okay. And so that's why I say you must number one, I think ni I talk to you guys like I am this old person who's been in academia for so long lah ya. Di luar pada Turnitin. But I think the essence of being an academic tu you all kena hayati. I tengok banyak muka muda-muda di sini. Your tanggungjawab as a lecturer ni, otherwise go and be a teacher. Cikgu kat sekolah ajar aja. Tapi as a lecturer, kita punya tanggungjawab ni very different. Number satu, kita must be on top of things. We must always be on top of our research area. Only if you're on top of your research area, then only you can be very sensitive to benda yang has appeared somewhere. Because if you are on top of your research, you have to do a lot of reading. Otherwise, how can you be on top of your research? Which means that, oh God, I've read it somewhere. But if you yourself are, so this is, I'm being very frank, satik pun tak apa. But if you are as ignorant as your student, and this is where the experience as a supervisor is critical in training especially a PhD student. Kalau hasrat you ialah untuk nak belajar sama dengan dia, then hilang dia punya inilah the essence of being an academic in a university doing research. So that's why I kata dia bukan setakat Turnitin aja. For you to be able to detect, you have to read a lot. Only when you read a lot, baru you boleh tahu kata, oh dah benda, konsep ni dah. You see, plagiarism is not just about cut and paste. Plagiarism is also copying people's idea, which is not here. This thing, they're matching kita punya document. So now we are going to talk about, that will probably be another ni on what constitutes plagiarism. You boleh plagiarize idea, bangunan pun you boleh plagiarize. In fact, we had one case, disu dia nak bawa pikot pasal budak ni copy bangunan, design bangunan. So kita kena discuss dengan lawyer, how many percent of that bangunan, to what extent. It was crazy. This was in USM. But that's why I kata dia punya idea of plagiarism ni not just thesis, but now we are talking about this lah. Okay, so please be mindful lah kalau you want to ni, as now that you all are here, now that you all muda-muda boleh baru ni saya dengar talk from somebody from UTM, ISI panggil dia datang talk about something else, but benda yang always that I took home from that talk was this. Dia kata kita ada satu pepatah Melayu, melentur buluh biar dari rebung dia. Tapi the pepatah didn't talk about the pelentur. We are the pelentur. How we melentur buluh tu lah tugas kita ni. Okay, so take it in that spirit lah. Kalau you all nak jadi academics, you nak evaluate ni pun, make sure kita sendiri pun ada pengetahuan tu. And the pengetahuan will never stop. Even at my age, I feel so sad to say at my age, but never mind. After all these years pun, it's still a learning curve for me. And I doa lah kata it will be, especially dengan you guys yang muda-muda ni. Okay, so take it in that spirit lah. Nah, okay. Ada any questions that you want to ask me lagi? I hope it's very clear. I rasa kalau you tengok ni, check your similarity index ni. Yang ni dia kata dah, macam Dr. Ernie kata, internet source atau publication. Jadi dia nanti refer to the reference yang ada ataupun to student papers. So yang ni dia ni nampak tak buku ni? This is a book. Alright, this is a publication. So dia nanti habaq sama ada student paper, publication. I don't think we all pakai banyak internet source. Tu dia ni internet source. Mana dia ni? This is an internet source. So you technically you can track where that thing came from. Okay, but it's not foolproof. Okay, the message is not foolproof. Alright. So any more questions you want to ask?
If you want to consider the plagiarism, how many words?
That's where your plagiarism policy comes in.
Sebab ada dalam Turnitin ini, kita boleh kata kita tak nak masukkan kita punya yang kita dah scan tu dalam repository. Kita boleh set.
Boleh. You can also, that's right. Kalau masa you scan, you boleh kata you tak nak masuk dalam database. Boleh. You can do that. So you don't want it to be in the database. You can do that. Okay? I forgot to mention, yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Tadi kan ada banyak source tu kan. Kita boleh unsource tak? Kerana sebagai daripada source kan, kita punya project paper ke apa-apa.
Dia boleh filter kan? Mereka boleh filter tak?
Unsource balik.
That's why dalam you punya, bila you nak scan, bila you nak instruct dia to scan, you boleh exclude. So you kena but you must know lah what paper dia punya ID apa semua tu untuk nak exclude. You can. You can. The thing is now to learn how to exclude, how to search.
Saya maklumkan yang untuk package Tayangan USIM.
Dengar berdiri, mereka tak dengar.
Okey. Sebab untuk package Tayangan USIM ni, kita memang tak nak memang akan submit ke repository Tayangan lah, sebab kita memang tak ada package institutional repository. Maksudnya simpan dalam USIM je tak ada. Kalau kita ambil
That means cannot lah. With us boleh.
Kena masuk Turnitin separately lah.
Kalau kita ambil package yang separate,
you nak masuk, you cannot run Turnitin separately because you need to go through your institution. Katalah ni you nak log in, you kena beli the software, you tak ada. That's why you all have to use it. Kalau tidak rugi ya duit tak pakai kalau kan. I think once we learn how to use it, then it will help us a lot. I think now nak break that barrier of going into it and using it. I think that's the thing. Okay. Yes.
I ada manuskrip yang nak I hantar for publication. I run through different in software. It will be in the database.
Yeah.
Let's say and then I submit. The journal tu akan submit semula ke?
Kalau the journal uses Turnitin, there are not everybody. At the moment, as far as I know, Turnitin is the most comprehensive one. Ada banyak scanning data. So kalau they scan through that, kan, dia nanti link. Kalau betul kata you dah scan, masuk repository. You send to the journal uses Turnitin, dia nanti detect lah that one. Dia nanti detect.
Dia boleh trace balik that I was the one that.
Kalau dia buka and then dia tengok, because dia nanti ada, but that's the thing, how you identify it. Kalau you identify as student paper ke whatever, so dia boleh link. Kalau dia nak correct, dia boleh correct lah. Kalau dia hantar balik dekat you with the report, this is the first time I dengar kata journal hantar balik Turnitin report, then you can let them know, kata that's my paper. I think that is not a problem lah. Kalau if it's your paper that you tak. That's why the option to masuk repository tu, kalau ada, bagus lah. So then until the final one, sebab kita punya, at least my how I use Turnitin is to scan. My student comes back, I tak happy, go and change and scan first, then come back to me. I always tell that to my student. And then the one that has low similarity pula, horrible grammar pula dah, Masya Allah. So yang tu cerita lain, seminar lain pasal Turnitin. So but basically, if you submit banyak kali, nanti appear macam budak ni tadi kan, my student tu, they submit and then dia ada dua version of the same thing. Okay, so you just have to report balik to the ni. Okay, tak ada soalan dah. So no, obviously, I mean my email is just roshada@usim.edu.my. You all nak tanya anything, kalau apa pun, insyaAllah kalau pertaining to whatever you think I can help you, if I can help, I will respond insyaAllah. So just email me, tak ada masalah lah. Okay, alright, so I wish you all the best, and I'm sure we will do this with full of integrity and muhasabah diri lah. Bila sebelum kita nak kata orang plagiarize ke tidak, I think we can say matching better lah than plagiarism. Okay, cause okay. I want to thank Ghost for, I think first time jumpa USIM ramai perempuan women rule, okay. So thank you very much for your attention, coming back after tea pula. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih kepada Prof. Roshada atas sharing yang telah diberikan. Okay, saya memang sangat berharaplah kawan-kawan menggunakan Turnitin secara agresif, okay. Sebab kita fight for the money, okay, and alhamdulillah kita dapat. But then kalau dia punya konsep dia macam ni, dia bagi tak pakai, dia bagi macam tu lah, okay. So kalau lepas ni tak ada orang pakai, mungkin dia kata okay, instead of 3,000 kita kurangkan jadi 1,000. So masa tu berbobot lah dia nak pakai, dan masa tu keutamaan dia memang akan pergi kepada postgrad student. Okay, tapi kalau kita nak dapat good postgrad student, susah kalau kita tak ajar daripada undergraduate kan. Sebab yang banyak buat orang itu sebenarnya banyaknya undergraduate lah. Okay, so saya harap selepas ni kita akan sama-sama menggunakan Turnitin, dan saya mohon sangat-sangat daripada kawan-kawan yang hadir pada hari ini untuk war-warkan di teknologi. Okay, saya tahu insyaAllah ramai yang nak datang, tapi ada tekanan-tekanan lain. So mohon yang dah datang hari ini, tolong war-warkan, bagi tahulah dalam mesyuarat fakulti ke, mesyuarat program ke, mesyuarat apa-apalah. Gunakan Turnitin, gunakan goals. So kita akan sama-sama improve lah daripada masa ke semasa. Okay, so terima kasih banyak-banyak atas perhatian, kesudian mendengar dan hadir pada sharing session ni. InsyaAllah kita akan buat lagi untuk topik yang lain-lain pula, dan harap dapat insyaAllah. Okay, terima kasih banyak-banyak. Assalamualaikum.